Good evening, everyone who's joining us by Zoom and in the room with us at Village Hall. Today is Monday, June 26th. This is a workshop meeting of the Village Board of Trustees. Trustee Bosie is traveling, so she is joining us via Zoom. Thank you for being with us and taking time out of your holiday. With us also is consulting planner Ted Fink, and here in the room is Village Attorney John First, who's on the other side of the table, not of view, but here nonetheless. First opportunity to request to vote, add or modify agenda items. None. Announcements. There will be no meeting Wednesday. We are meeting today. And moving on to board business. The planning board has made recommendations for 2 waivers for businesses opening on Main Street. The first, I will bring my marked up version, is 81 Main Street, which is right next door. It's the old Knights of Columbus building, which has been approved for a change from retail to food provision. There'll be a tea shop there, and the planning board has recommended the waiver of 4 off-street parking spaces. May I have a resolution? I'm sorry, a motion.
Motion to approve the parking spaces recommended by the planning board.
The waivers recommended. Second.
Second.
For the discussion.
Is it 4 or 9?
It is.
It's for the back, the first one.
That's different. The other property is 9. This is
Okay.
the one we're voting on.
Alright.
4 is for 81 Main Street.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, no, you're correct. 49 Main Street is 4. Thank you for the correction, Eliza. So,
Amend
Catherine,
my motion to approve 9 waivers as per the planning recommendation.
second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Laura. And now the 4 spaces. which I believe is why you are here. Houlihan Lawrence is relocating from its current space to the other side of Main Street, down where the pottery shop used to be. The building looks great. The planning board has recommended approving waivers for 4 off-street parking spaces. Any discussion?
No.
May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the planning board's recommendation for off-street parking waivers for what's the new address?
49.
21 Main Street.
Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, got what you need. Cool. So we're coming in. What did you say was going into 81?
Yeah.
Tea shop. Tea shop. Tea shop. TEA. Thank you. Okay, next is approval of minutes, June 14th, 2023. Catherine was absent, for the rest of us are able to vote. Would someone like to make a motion?
I had one amendment, but I spent the last minute just noting in the report of the mayor and the trustees that the mayor have noted that the assemblywoman Dana Littenberg and Senator Rob Rollison have carried the residential parking and employee hire bills to the state on our behalf. So if we could add that amendment.
Thank you very much for noting that, clerk. So noted. So would you like to make it? Well, I will make a motion to approve as modified.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And so it's 4 in favor, 1 abstention, none opposed. The next, if I can get down through the pile, if I'm at the top of the minutes, is June 21st. Yes. I'd like to make a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of June 21st, 2023.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Laura, say aye. Yes. Any
Aye.
opposed? All right. On to the business of the day. The first resolution. Way back. Thank you. The okay, so the first is resolution 2023, declaring a negative declaration for chapters 76 and 104. Would someone like to move this resolution? need reading into the record.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023 adopting a secret determination of non-significance for adoption of chapters 76 and 104 amendments, local law number 1 and 2 of 2023. The following resolution was offered by myself and seconded by
Me.
To wit, whereas pursuant to the village's adopted comprehensive plan dated January 10th, 2012, the village board appointed a citizen-based code update committee to prepare amendments to the village code consistent with the adopted 2012 comprehensive plan. And whereas in April 2022, the code update committee was replaced with an ad hoc working group to continue the work of the code update committee to finish preparation of amendments to the village code consistent with the adopted 2012 comprehensive plan and for consideration by the village board. And whereas on April 12th, 2023, the village board received the recommendations of the ad hoc working group in the form of proposed amendments to chapter 76 noise and 104 signs and placards of the village code. And whereas on April 26th, 2023, after review of a part 1 short environmental assessment form for the action, the village board classified the actions as unlisted actions under secret. And since no other agency has approval authority with respect to the proposed actions, declared itself lead agency. And whereas the village board has reviewed a short environmental assessment form for the proposed action, including a part 1, part 2, and part 3 narrative. And whereas the village board has reviewed a draft negative declaration setting forth reasons supporting a determination that the proposed actions will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment. Now therefore be it resolved by the village board of the village of Cold Spring, Putnam County, New York, by the favorable vote of not less than a majority of all of the members of the board as follows. The board hereby adopts the findings and conclusions related to probable environmental effects contained within the attached environmental assessment form and negative declaration, concluding that the adoption of local laws 1 and 2 of 2023 will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment. The mayor is authorized to execute the environmental assessment form and file the negative declaration in accordance with the applicable provision of law. The village board authorizes and directs the village clerk to distribute a copy of this resolution to all interested agencies, the mayor, and any person that has requested a copy to make all other filings required by law. The question of the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly put on vote on a roll call, which resulted as follows.
Mayor Foley,
Aye.
trustee Bozy,
Aye.
trustee Fatty,
Aye.
trustee Starbuck,
Aye.
and trustee Woods.
Aye.
This resolution is adopted on this date by a vote of 5-0.
Next is resolution 2123, negative declaration for chapter 134. Catherine, would you like to move this one?
It's on my radar. Resolution 2123 adopting a secret determination of non-significance for adoption of chapter 134 amendments, local law number 3 of 2023. The following resolution was offered by myself and seconded by myself. Whereas pursuant to the village's adopted comprehensive plan dated January 10th, 2012, the village board appointed a citizen-based code update committee to prepare amendments to the 1967 zoning law consistent with the adopted 2012 comprehensive plan. And whereas on April of 2022, the code update committee was replaced with an ad hoc working group to continue the work of the code update committee to finish preparation of amendments to the 1967 zoning law consistent with the adopted 2012 comprehensive plan and for the consideration by the village board. And whereas on April 12th of 2023, the village board received the recommendations of the ad hoc working group in the form of a proposed comprehensive replacement of chapter 134 village zoning law, and whereas on April 26th of 2023, after review of part 1 full environmental assessment form for the action, the village board classified the action as a type 1 action under secret, and since no other agency has approval authority with respect to the proposed action, declared itself the agency. And whereas the village board has reviewed a full environmental assessment form for the proposed action, including part 1, part 2, and part 3 narrative, and whereas the village board has reviewed the draft negative declaration, setting forth reasons supporting a determination that the proposed action will not have a significant adverse effect on the environment, now therefore be it resolved by the village board of the village of Cold Spring, Putnam County, New York, by the favorable vote of not less than a majority of all of the members of the board as follows. The village board hereby adopts the findings and conclusions excuse me, relating to the probable environmental effects contained within the attached environmental assessment form and negative declaration, concluding that the adoption of local law number 3 of 2023 will not have a significant adverse effect on the environment. The mayor is authorized to execute the environmental assessment form and file the negative declaration in accordance with the applicable provisions of law. The village board authorizes and directs the village clerk to distribute a copy of this resolution to all interested agencies, the mayor, and any person that requests a copy, and to make all other filings required by law. On a roll call vote.
Mayor Foley,
Aye.
trustee Bozzi,
Aye.
Patty,
Aye.
trustee Starbuck,
Aye.
and trustee Woods.
Aye.
Adopted on this date by a vote of 5-0.
Please, would you like to move resolution 2023?
Yes.
I gave you the hard one, sorry.
Resolution number 2023, adopting local law 01 of 2023, amending chapter 76 noise. The following resolution was offered by myself for adoption and seconded by
Second.
to it, whereas the Village of Cold Spring Board of Trustees has caused to be prepared a draft of the local law to amend chapter 76 noise of the village code. And whereas on April 24th, 2023, the Putnam County Planning Department determined that the village's proposed amendments were a matter of local concern. And whereas the Village of Cold Spring Board of Trustees held a duly noticed public hearing on the draft local law beginning on April 26th, 2023, and continuing through June 21st, 2023. And whereas the Village of Cold Spring Board of Trustees has complied with the requirements of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR, as it applies to the adoption of the local draft law. Now therefore it be resolved that the local law number 01 of 2023 is hereby adopted, and the village clerk is authorized and directed to take all of the actions necessary to complete the local law adoption procedure, including filing said local law with the New York State Office of Secretary of State. On a roll call.
Trustee Bozzi,
Aye.
trustee Fatty,
Aye.
trustee Starbuck,
Aye.
trustee Woods,
Aye.
Mayor Foley.
Aye.
Resolution adopted on this date by a vote of 5-0.
We will move resolution 2023, adopting local law 02 of 2023, amending chapter 104 signs and placards. The following resolution was offered by Kathleen Foley for adoption and seconded by,
Liza Starbuck.
okay. Whereas the Village of Cold Spring Board of Trustees has caused to be prepared a draft of the local law to amend chapter 104 signs and placards of the village code. And whereas on April 24th, 2023, the Putnam County Planning Department determined that the village's proposed amendments were a matter of local concern. And whereas the Village of Cold Spring Board of Trustees has held a duly noticed public hearing on the draft local law beginning on April 26th, 2023, and continuing through June 21st, 2023. And whereas the Village of Cold Spring Board of Trustees has complied with the requirements of the State Environmental Quality Review Act as it applies to the adoption of the draft local law. Now therefore be it resolved that local law number 2 of 2023 is hereby adopted, and the village clerk is authorized and directed to take all of the actions necessary to complete the local law adoption procedure, including filing said local law with the New York State Office of the Secretary of State.
Trustee Posey,
Aye.
trustee Fatty,
Aye.
trustee Starbuck,
Aye.
trustee Wood,
Aye.
Mayor Foley.
Aye.
Officially adopted on the state by a vote of 5-0.
Eliza, would you like to move on to the next resolution?
I would. Resolution 24 of 2023 of the Village of Cold Spring Trustees of the Village of Cold Spring. Sorry. The Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Cold Spring are adopting proposed zoning amendments to Chapter 134 known as Local Law Number 3 of 2023. Whereas the Village Board would like to adopt zoning amendments consistent with the recommendations set forth in the village's comprehensive plan, which comprehensive plan was adopted January 10th, 2012. The plan's vision, goal, and recommendations are still valid today. And whereas since the adoption of the plan, the village board has been actively working on revisions to its zoning chapter, first through its code update committee, and then through its planning consultant and an ad hoc working group. And whereas on April 9th, 2023, the ad hoc working group presented a draft of the zoning amendments to the village board of trustees. Whereas on April 12th, 2023, the village board of trustees accepted the draft zoning amendments, scheduled a public hearing, referred the proposed zoning amendments to the planning board pursuant to chapter 134-32 of the zoning chapter and chapter 21-7 of the planning board chapter, and referred the proposed zoning amendments and environmental assessment form under the State Environmental Quality Review Act to the Putnam County Planning Department under General Municipal Law, Chapter 239M. And whereas notice of the public hearing on the zoning amendments, number 1, was published in the official paper on April 19th, 2023, 2, posted at Village Hall and on its website, and 3, mailed to all adjoining municipalities under General Municipal Law 239 NN. And whereas the public hearing was opened on April 26, 2023, and continued on May 3rd, May 10th, May 17th, May 24th, June 7th, June 14th, and finally closed on June 21st, 2023, wherein both oral and written comments were received each night. And whereas on April 25th, 2023, the Putnam County Planning Department determined that the village's proposed zoning amendments were a matter of local concern. And whereas on June 7th, 2023, while the public hearing was still open, the Village Board of Trustees referred a revised version of the zoning amendments and revised environmental assessment form under SECRA to the Putnam County Planning Department under General Municipal Law 239M. And whereas on June 12th, 2023, the Putnam County Planning Department determined that the revised zoning amendments were still a matter of local concern. And whereas on June 5th, 2023, 61 days after the receipt of the Village Board of Trustees request for comments, the Village of Cold Springs Planning Board issued its report on the proposed zoning amendments. And whereas during the course of the approximately 2 months, the public hearing was held open and the village was receiving comments from its planning board, the Putnam County Planning Department, and the general public, the village board, after consultation with the ad hoc working group and its planning and legal consultants, revised the proposed zoning amendments pursuant to the comments and reposted them for additional public comments on the following dates: April 25th, 2023, June 7th, 2023, and June 14th, 2023. And whereas the village's adoption of the proposed zoning amendments constitutes a type 1 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and a full environmental assessment form has been completed, including part 2 and part 3 of the EAF. And whereas the Village Board of Trustees is the only involved agency associated with the adoption of the zoning amendments and is therefore by default the lead agency under SECRA. And whereas on April 26, 2023, the Village Board of Trustees officially declared itself lead agency for purposes of the environmental review under SECRA, and whereas on June 21st, 2023, the Village Board of Trustees adopted a letter in response to the Planning Board's comments, and whereas the Village Board of Trustees has reviewed the public testimony, comments from its planning board and the county planning department, and examined the contents of the EAF, specifically the approximately 58-page draft part 3 of the EAF. And whereas on June 26, 2023, the Village Board of Trustees had previously adopted a negative declaration pursuant to SECRA via a separate resolution, and now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that the Village Board of Trustees, after considering all of the information presented to it, hereby adopts the attached proposed local law entitled "A Local Law to Replace in its entirety Chapter 134 of the Code of the Village of Cold Spring, originally adopted by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Cold Spring on March 7th, 1967, as local law number 1-1967, and known as amendments to Chapter 134, and it is hereby further resolved that the Village Board of Trustees thereby repeals and replaces the prior Chapter 134 with the attached local law by order of the Village Board of the Village of Cold Spring, New York.
Second. I would like to request modification with the mover and the seconder, and that is on page. Second page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items down. If we could please add June 21st, 2023, and the last sentence, and reposted them for additional public comments on the following dates: April 25th, June 7th, June 14th, and June 21st, 2023. Is that an acceptable modification to the mover?
Yes.
And to the seconder?
Yes.
Okay, roll call vote, please. For any further discussion? No.
No.
Roll call vote?
Mayor Foley,
Aye.
trustee Wood,
Aye.
trustee Starbuck,
Aye.
trustee Patty,
Aye.
trustee Bose.
Aye.
Adopted on this date by a vote of 5-0.
Any members of the public wishing to be heard? I would like to make a very brief statement and get us out of here. I'd like to extend my most sincere thanks to the ad hoc committee on the code update, who worked tirelessly over a tightly condensed timeline to finally deliver for trustee consideration a zoning draft that's consistent with the village's comprehensive plan and which meets the goals and benchmarks of NYSERDA's Cleaner Greener's community grant program. They are Eric Worth, Jesse St. Charles, who's with us today, Paul Henderson, Donald McDonald, and trustee Bosey. Well done, all of you. As part of the final reporting to NYSERDA, we have to identify everyone who served on the code update project in some capacity since the grant was awarded in 2014. Nearly 10 years of deliberation and analysis. They number 32. Donald McDonald said, "I'm the only one who never quit." And he didn't. And I honor him. Donald, today is for you. The ad hoc working group are village residents with expertise and deep commitment to the future of this community. They gave hundreds of hours and so much brain power, not only to the drafting, but to helping the trustees consider and respond to public comment and questions. It's not required under the law for legislative bodies to respond to comments and questions. Given the importance of this local law, I, as mayor, thought it was beneficial to do so regardless. The ad hoc working group reviewed them all, drafted written responses to most, and made recommendations for the trustees to consider. It was a monumental effort. That extra work was a challenge for the working group, for Ted, for John, and for the trustees, but it has built a powerfully strong public record demonstrating that this process has been anything but arbitrary or capricious. Unfortunately, the goodwill of the trustees was misused. Questions were weaponized by some members of the public. Accusations were made about my integrity, the integrity of two trustees, and that of the ad hoc working group. The people who made the accusations didn't simply libel and slander elected officials. They libeled and slandered their neighbors. And it has to be said that it's not right and it's not acceptable. Among the false statements was that the owner of the marathon site influenced the shaping of the zoning legislation with a campaign gift in 2021 to me and my running mates, now Deputy Mayor Woods and Trustee Starbuck. What is true is that the Forge Ahead campaign committee received a $250 check from Adriana Carney. Ms. Carney and 142 other individuals made contributions because they wanted positive change in the village and they believed in us. Ms. Carney makes her own financial choices, independent of her husband. She is her own person. She signed her own personal check. She has a right to contribute to campaigns as all village residents do. My ethical standards aren't for sale for $250 or any other amount. Neither are the ethical standards of any of the trustees sitting with me at this table, joining us online, and neither are the ethical standards of the ad hoc working group. The zoning law we just adopted provides a rigorous 3-stage process for approvals of any redevelopment at the marathon site. It requires a rigorous public process that ensures protections from impacts related to traffic, the environment, and community character. These did not exist in previous proposals. There are no favors being given to the developer in this rezoning. If the Board of Trustees wanted to make it easy for the Carney Group, we would have adopted the zoning draft proposed by one of the commentators in 2021. In the public hearing for that 2021 draft, another commentator championed it as a, quote, tremendous body of work, close quote. I'll leave it to the public to consider what's changed since then. And with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Laura. Happy vacation.
Thank you. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.